Welcome back to another NaytonTech vlog. This is going to be vlog number 24. I have a big update today. I finally got one of the pieces that I've been working on since January done. If you wonder which piece that is, it is the doubled in CRX bezel. I'm going to be kind of going, this is going to be an overview of how this piece works, all the features on it, stuff like that, and a little bit of the install, so you guys kind of know there is a couple little modifications that you actually, mainly one modification that you need to do so that the cup holder tray will go back all the way, and we'll go over that here in a bit. I also have a couple updates on a few other pieces that I'm working on that we'll do as well. So let's get into this and then we'll do the other stuff later. So the main piece is obviously the bezel. It bolts in just like the factory, single DIN bezel does. It has a spot for 4 USB charging ports. It has a, let's see if I can get this in the, there we go. It has a little cubby here, which it's not big enough for a phone. I can only go back so far, but it does have, and this is something that I added in at last minute, it has a little port here where if you guys have a deck that allows you to plug, at least like you have Apple CarPlay, or I don't remember what Android's one is off the top of my head, and you have to plug in a cable, I made a port here in the back so that you can run a cable in there. I don't know if I've got a free one just to show you guys. So you basically run the port, it's big enough to barely get the end of the big end of the cable through it. That way you're not pulling it out, and then you can stuff the cable in there if you need to. On the bottom is a slot here. This is where the dual cup holder tray goes. It does completely flush in when you're not using it, so it doesn't even look like you have cup holders. And then you pull them completely out, and it has 2 full cup holders that should support, an extra large cup. Pretty much the same design that I ran on almost all of my other cup holders. So this is the main piece that it comes with. This is the 5-piece. This is a 5-piece system, I guess you would call it. So here's the main piece. This thing takes about 38 hours to print. We have the cup tray itself. So a couple little strands on this. So this is the cup tray. This will be the front. And it has 2 little knobs here on the side, if I can get these lined up. These are what align it, so when you're pulling it out, it actually pulls out at an angle and then drops flat. When it drops flat, it locks into, it locks these in so that the tray doesn't go back in unless you lift it up and then kind of push it down at an angle. So it kind of stays in place once you pull it out. It won't be moving around a lot. So that's that. There's a front trim piece. So this makes it so that you can't push the tray all the way back, you can't pull it all the way forward. So once you put it together, the tray shouldn't come out on its own. This has 4 screws. This will be assembled before it's sent to you guys. This has 4 screws in it for these 4 pieces. If you guys ever have to take it apart for some reason, that is where those 4 screws will be. And then on the back, the double DINs most double DINs don't have a cage like the single DINs do, where you just slide it in and it locks in. Most double DINs use what they call an ISO mount. It just has 2 slots and you just screw it in from the side. So I went ahead and went with this design, as some of the brands, double DIN brands, don't even come with a cage, and the cage is actually so large that it actually wouldn't fit in here. Or if it did, the trim piece wouldn't fit. It made things a lot more difficult. So doing it this way actually allowed me more room on the front to breathe and get everything to fit a little bit nicer. So let me go ahead and get this put together so it's all in one piece so you guys can see that, and then we'll talk a little bit about what piece you're going to have to modify in the CRX to make the tray fit. Okay, I've got this whole 5-piece thing put together. Kind of give you guys a quick view of it here. So the deck you can actually flush into the front. You don't have to have it stick out. It should work with any of the decks that kind of, with the face that kind of opens and folds down, so you can put the CD or DVD in there. Should work with any of those. And then the tray. So this, as you know, guys know, most of you know, it sits at an angle in the car. So the deck, or the tray, slides out, and then it actually drops down and locks in while it's sitting. While this is at an angle, this sits flat. And it has two full-size cups, so you can get, you know, 2 cups in there. They'll go down a little bit further, but this is designed for more of an extra large style cup. But you actually have 2 full-size cups in this design. But the issue the issue that we did run into, and I don't want to sacrifice the cup holders because I like how they're done, and I think most people have wanted cup holders in their CRXs for the last 30 years, so this little mod isn't a big deal. But when you push it back, and it's a little tight right now, as you use it a little bit, everything will kind of smooth out a little bit, and plus I'm trying to hold it and move it so everything looks like it's moving a lot more and a little harder than it would be. Onto the passenger side, so when you're bolting this in, you bolt this into the metal cage. I want to try to get a picture of it right up here, and I'll show you, and I'll circle the spot where this side, so if you're looking at the car, the passenger side, where this goes back, hits the metal plate where this bolts in, where it comes down and then goes at a 45, it hits a little bit of that 45. I've had guys, the 2 guys that have tested these, and this also works for the single din with the triple gauge. It's the same thing, since the cup holder's in the exact same spot. You either have to bend and kind of round that 45 out so that it clears, or I have had a couple guys where you can either notch it, or he actually cut the bottom and kind of straightened it out so it's not a 45. Kind of up to you on how you want to modify it. I think kind of bending it, I don't know if you can hammer it a little bit and just kind of round it so that it clears. It's just this edge right here where it doesn't clear. I've adjusted. We did have a clearance issue right here. That should have been fixed. I've taken probably about 3/4 of an inch out right here. Shouldn't have any clearance issues except for just the tray. And it's only when it goes all the way back in. If you have it out all the time, you wouldn't have any issues. So to install this, basically you take your center console out that covers the shifter. You take out this piece, the factory piece, bolt this one in. Actually, I would bolt the radio in first. So these, if you can see, there are 3 screws on each side. These do adjust in and out. So if your deck is a little bit wider than the inside of this, you can loosen those screws a little bit, put your screws in the side, and then these will adjust in, so you can kind of adjust. You can adjust the center of the deck side to side a little bit. I did give you guys a little bit of play. These don't have to be super tight. You're just screwing into a few millimeters of plastic, so just kind of cinch them up. If you do them too much, you can crack it or even strip it out. So just cinch these. They're more than strong enough, cinched up, to hold the deck in there. I'm trying to think of really. Oh, the other piece that will be included with this is this guy. So this is a 4-port. I believe it's almost 2.1 amps on each port. It does have a 12-volt input on the back. Do not use this black piece. And let's see, on the bottom, see if I can get in here, you guys can see this. Let's go the other way. So you've got in, which is your positive here, in ground, and out positive. The out you don't need. That is actually a 5-volt out. So if for some reason you're running some type of custom 5-volt system, like you want to run maybe a couple more chargers or something, you can actually daisy chain through this one, but you just need the voltage in, which is 12 volts in, and the ground, like it says right here. This one I believe is also an out, not an in, the black plug. So this just pops in. If you guys ever have to take it out for some reason, well, actually you will to actually, and I don't think I'm going to put this into the bezel when I ship it, so you guys can actually screw the wires in, because you can't get to them because they sit right here, because it's upside down actually. That's the only way I could get it to mount and everything to fit right. There's a lot of stuff I had to redo a bunch of times in here to get everything to fit in this space. The cup holders, the USB ports, the cubby, and the deck to fit all in this space. It was pretty tight. So anyway, the deck, if you're looking on the back, basically, so this goes upside down, so all the electronics go down and the board is up. And you just push it in to where it's almost flush in the front, and then it should just clip. And make sure you're not pulling up on this bottom lip. This bottom lip here, you can see how it's kind of thin. Never pry up or down on that lip. But you're just going to press. You kind of have to press forward and down, and it'll clip in. This first time, sometimes it's a little tight because it's not going in all the way. And like I said, I might actually, if these become a little bit of a problem, what I'll probably end up doing is putting 2 wires in, maybe some 6-inch wires off of these, screw them in, and then install them myself. That way, if I crack it, it's my fault and not yours. So I haven't had any of these crack, but you know, you never know. So I am going to fiddle with this, get this installed, but basically you can see it's not perfectly flush quite yet, but that's what it'll look like on the front. So I'm actually going to leave this one out for right now. I'm going to put some wire on this before I ship them the stuff. This is the first one that is officially getting sent out. So I'm going to go ahead and I made the choice. I'm going to go ahead and put 2 6-inch positive and negative wires on this. That way you guys will never have to worry about it. You should never have to pull this out unless the wires come out for some weird reason you pulled on it too hard. But that way it's set and you shouldn't have to worry about popping out this electronic piece. I'm going to try, I'm not going to put these two, they're not going to be mounted in the box. I will put the screws in and get them very close to where you need to be, so you can just slide them in and put them on your deck, slide them in, and you're good to go. Other than that, that is the complete piece for the CRX. A lot of this stuff moves over to the singled in as well, but it's normal. It's just a standard singled in cage style, and then the 3 gauges. The other update that I do have, actually I'm working on a couple things. I've posted pictures of this. This is the EG front cup holder. I do not print all the way up to the top. I actually ran out of filament on this print, but I'm mainly trying to get this section here, if you can see, I'm trying to get this stupid curve to line up right, and then this front lip. So if I pull down on it, it lines up perfectly. I just have to get it to do it naturally. Once that's done, you'll have 2 cup holders up front that do not move, should not break. This bolts into the 4 factory screw holes in the bottom. So you take this off, unbolt the old one if you haven't already, bolt this one in, and you're done. This should be getting done very soon. This takes about 20 hours to print, so it's a little time consuming to get the prototypes done, especially for this stupid little curve. I do have, where did I put that piece? I do have a second revision to the DA cup holder. I don't have it printed yet. The first one did work, so now what I'm going to be doing is just testing how deep I can make the cup holder to where it doesn't interfere with anything. I think I've got it almost 40 millimeters total depth for the cans. So I will be printing that one out and testing it very soon. If you guys have any questions or any suggestions on things that you want designed or printed. Right now I probably have a product list of over 50 products to design and print, and I'm doing them as I come across the parts. So like right now I've been wanting to do the S2000 gauge cluster and push button start, but I have yet to be able to find one that I can use to mock stuff up with. So if you guys do have a part that you're willing to let me borrow for a few weeks, I will give you, whatever part we're designing, I will give you a free copy or a print of that product that we're designing for letting me borrow it. And then once we get it all done, I will ship you the product back with the final, ship you your piece back with the final product. That's kind of the way I've been working with a few people. I've had quite a few done already, and it's been a great help. So I try to make it worth you guys' while. If it's a bigger piece, I need a little bit longer, maybe I'll throw in some extra stuff as well. But definitely, if you guys want to help out, hit me up in the comments. Hit me up at NaytonTech.com or on Facebook, Facebook/NaytonTech, and I'm also on Instagram, Instagram.com/NaytonTech. Excuse me. So I think that's going to end this vlog. If you guys are interested in the CRX piece, I got a few more pictures to post up on the website. This piece is going for $100 shipped inside the United States. Outside, I believe it's 117-ish. I think it's about $17 outside the United States is what I've got the shipping for. It ended up coming out to a little bit more than I originally planned. This piece in particular, mainly because it's literally 6 pieces. It's 5 for this, plus the USB charger. These guys go for about $10, and I'm hoping I can continue to get them. Amazon seems like they're running low on them, so I might have to change the design up a little bit, but that's easy compared to getting the double DIN stuff done and the cup holder. So this is 100. The single DIN with the triple gauge pod is 90 shipped, and I'm also doing custom pieces for people. Now that I've got the base design done, if you guys aren't looking for anything crazy, the cost will be the same. If you're looking for something that I have to do a lot of modification for, it might be a little bit more. But I had a guy that wanted a single DIN with the 2 gauge pods underneath it, simple modification. So I'm charging him pretty much the same price as what the single DIN would be. So if you guys need anything special, hit me up below, like I said, on any of the social medias, and we'll get you taken care of. Until next time, we'll see you later.